Pori, could I just ask you about their website? Is it up to scratch? Is it good enough? Do they need to invest more in that to develop it, to make it more interactive?
Yeah, well, their website is in some respects quite weak. The strongest thing on the website is kind of hidden away at the back. They have about 4 or 5 pages of customer testimonials and endorsements, which is very strong. You know, it shows a very strong loyalty and feedback. But the site itself doesn't give a lot of information, doesn't really sell the business very strongly. The other thing I'd pick up on, and I would disagree with people that in terms of going into the UK, is I think the first step for Glenilen will be to look at getting into the Irish market, because they have approximately 100 customers. 50 of those are supermarkets. There's over 350 supermarkets in Ireland dealing in food. So, you know, they have about 15% of those on their books. And I think that would be a first step.
Looking at that as an issue, one of the problems they do have is the shelf life of their product. What can they do about that?
Well, if they want to stay with the kind of product they have, they're going to have to, you know, maintain the quality of the product as it's delivered. The other alternative is to get into the preservative route, which I presume they're not going to want to. They would perceive that as a drop down in quality. So assuming that they stay with the kind of product they have, you know, for transportation of chilled goods, it's between -1 and 5 degrees. So the closer to -1 it goes out, it stays. You know, the better condition it arrives in. Transporting it across the UK is going to reduce the shelf life and increase the wastage cost.
But I think what's important to say there is that the solution they've actually deployed, albeit that they're a small business, is exactly the same solution that, you know, companies that I've dealt with, the big food production companies, they're using exactly the same solution. And the key point here is that the use of technology is very scalable. So you don't have to be a big player to use technology efficiently and effectively.
Okay, Billy, just looking at where they've gone now, and let's say they want to expand, they want to take a proposal to you. What are you going to be looking for? What are the key elements you're looking for in terms of any business proposal right now, particularly in this environment?
What type of mentor they're going to have looking to export to the UK. And Board Bia would be the obvious choice. And Board Bia have entree into the likes of Asda,
and the big supermarket chains.
Some other stores over there. But as well as that, is to get, you talk about the shelf life of the product, how they're going to get it over there. So the transportation issue is huge here.
Okay, Harry, some words of advice for Glenilen, not just in terms of looking at it internationally, but I think also domestically, because there's lots happening right now.
Yeah, looking internationally and domestically, one thing they need to be careful of, particularly in the international scene, is their IP, their intellectual property, because as the product becomes more successful, people may well try and copy it. So they need to look at the international markets and they need to ensure that they have those tied up even before they move into them. That's a very good thing for them to do in advance. So they need to take advice in relation to their IP, because that's very important, because they've developed a lot of goodwill already about their product here nationally. I think getting into bed with a bigger partner is a very quick way of rolling out their business, but it's like a marriage. They need to be very careful who they get into bed with, and they need to put the appropriate structures, shareholders agreements, etc. in place. So that's going to be very, very important. Put the correct foundations in place. I think finally, I think they do have a competitive advantage being based in West Cork. I think they have much lower overheads in relation to rent or property aspects compared to having somebody in the centre of Dublin. So I think, you know, don't underestimate the location. I think it can be viewed as a big, big positive.
It used to be the sticks, of course, Paddy, but that's changed.
Yeah, it's changed big time, because it was a big issue maybe 2 years ago, was people getting access to broadband, and now, as I said before, there's 90% coverage on broadband, so that enables businesses to connect both locally and internationally.
And keep abreast of technology?
Oh, absolutely, keep abreast of technology. And, you know, if businesses aren't comfortable with technology, there's always a local IT reseller. And, you know, definitely form a relationship with that IT reseller, because any good IT reseller will spend time to understand your business and will work with you to help use technology to ease pressure points.
And Pádraig, there are strategies they can employ, I imagine, just in the immediate term. As you said, look at the Irish business first, then move abroad.
Yeah, and an immediate strategy that they could use would be to upgrade their website, like Paddy was talking about. You know, make it a lot more interactive. Maybe they mentioned about setting up a blog, but they haven't done it. You know, putting in recipes, inviting customers to put up their own recipes. You know, and if you like, get the community that's already involved with them. Because it is, you know, it's very much a community product. And it goes into a niche market. It's a very high-end perception of it. and the people who buy it will stay loyal as long as the quality is there.
One very small point just in terms of their website. When I was looking at their own website and they were highlighting their products, on the packaging, I didn't notice the website actually mentioned on the packaging.
On their labelling, no?
On their labelling, yeah. So every piece of yogurt that's taken off the shelf is an opportunity to actually advertise the site and draw someone onto it.
You never know, people might email you giving out about it. But Billy, finally, you know, cash is king and continues to be king.
Cash is king, will continue to be king. Glenilen are very aware of this fact as well. And as long as they maintain the proper credit terms, as I say, at the moment now they're getting maybe 5 weeks with the likes of Tesco and Dunn's or whatever, which would be normal for that type of an industry. So if they can maintain that kind of credit terms, whichever markets they expand into, they should be fine.
So there you are, some excellent, some incisive observations about Glenilen Farm and some real tips for companies operating in the current environment. Our thanks to our panel, who were Pádraig Bergin from the Alchemy Network, Paddy Collins from Vodafone, Billy Moriarty from Bank of Ireland, and Harry Feely from Holmes O'Malley Sexton. And that's it for this episode. Join us next time when we'll be in Limerick to meet Food Court Catering and see how they're doing in this difficult but somewhat optimistic climate. Do join us for Facing Business Challenges next time.